The wife of a Fort Stewart soldier has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for his murder. 22-year-old Kemia Hassel learned her punishment today in Berrien County. Last month, a jury found her guilty of the January killing of Sergeant Tyrone Hassel III. He was shot to death while visiting family in Michigan.
This video contains the interrogation of a woman who conspired with her lover to murder her husband. When one spouse serves in the military, it can put a strain on a marriage. This strain is only compounded when both are serving and children are involved. This was the case for Kemia and Tyrone Hassel, who were both in the Army and had a toddler at home. Tyrone believed that their relationship was strong and only had the typical ups and downs that any couple faced. Kemia, however, had become increasingly dissatisfied and had started to seek romance elsewhere. She began a relationship with another officer, Jeremy Kruller. As they became more serious, they started to entertain the idea of getting Tyrone out of the way permanently. They planned for Kruller to shoot Tyrone outside of the Hassel home to make it look like a drive-by. It took them 4 days before Kruller had a clear shot, and Kemia immediately threw herself into the role of grieving widow. What they didn't realize is that their secret relationship wasn't much of a secret, and they were quickly brought in for questioning.
So he's at the house, he's like, yeah, we're gonna shoot off a couple rounds, once 12 o'clock hits, and the rounds that I have, are home defense. And I don't want to use my expensive home defense rounds, so I'm gonna stop by Walmart and get the cheaper ones. I said, okay. So he goes, get the cheaper ones, comes back, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to get ready to go to Fredo's house. I'll probably end up spending the night there because he's going to be drinking and everything. I said, okay, well, that's fine because I know that Fredo's one of his good friends, so I don't mind him spending the night over there. And then, two, I was with the baby at the house anyway, so, we're going to be there anyway. So he says that everybody's at Damani's house, and Damani is his cousin, and, they're cooking and everything. I said, oh yeah, me and the baby gonna need some plates because, it was nothing that it's New Year's Eve. Nobody's cooking at the house. Everybody's gonna go to one specific house where they're cooking and eat there. So he's like, okay, well yeah, I'll do that. I'll get y'all some food from Damani's house. So we leave the house and they're at Damani's house and maybe about 35 minutes go past, maybe 45. Now I call him, I'm like, hey, what you doing? And he's like, excuse me. And he's like, I'm at Damani's house. I was like, how's the food going? He's like, oh, they're still cooking. I was like, okay, they're making chicken and wings. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll see you soon. So maybe an hour and a half has gone by. And I called him, like, babe, like, what's going on? Like, why? Oh, what made me call him, I saw, like, on Facebook, they were doing this thing, like, see a shot, take a shot. And I saw him, and I was like, you drinking, you taking shots? Like, what are you doing? I thought you were waiting for food at Damani's house. He was like, I am. They're still cooking it. I said, okay. So, it was probably about maybe like almost 2 hours now. I really don't know time. I'm just trying to pinpoint a little bit. It was maybe about 2 hours, and I was just trying to feel like.
Hassel was supposed to have gone with her husband, but chose to stay home instead.
I know he's taking a long time. The baby, he's saying, maybe I should just say, like, don't bring nothing. We just eat something at the house. But then I thought about it. I was like, no, that's okay, because, he's going to be bringing the food over here anyway, so that's fine. So he comes home. It's about 11. I don't really know the time. It's about 11, I'll say. And he comes in and he drops the food off, and he's like, I was trying to think because I'm thinking I don't know if I want to bring in the new year with you guys or if I just wanted to just go back out. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should just bring the new year in with us because the baby was going to be at home anyway. He was saying that he was going to go back out after 12. And I was like, that'd be good. And he was like, nah, but I probably won't do that because my dad told me that he wanted me to come be back at the house before 12 o'clock. And I was like, oh, well, if he already said that, then just go back. He was like, all right, well, I'll see y'all later. And I was like, okay. He gave me a kiss, gave the baby a kiss, and then me and the baby are sitting on the couch eating. And then I heard him open the door, and he walked out the door, and as soon as I heard the door close, I heard, like, now I know that it was 6 gunshots. I heard 6 gunshots go off. And as soon as I heard them, like, it was literally right behind my head. And as soon as I heard them, like, what is that? And I noticed, I'm like, I don't hear his truck on. So I picked the baby up, he was in my lap, and I put him in a room, and he was screaming, crying, because he heard the gunshots, and they were scaring him, so he was, like, in my lap, jumping as they were going off. And I put him in a room, and I closed the door, and I ran to the front, not the front door, but the side door. It had like this kind of like a stained glass, but not really stained glass. You can still kind of see out of it. And I looked, and I seen him laid up against his truck. So I instantly ran outside. Like, I didn't have shoes on. I wasn't even thinking if somebody could have still been out there, but I just saw my husband laid out, so I went out there. And I'm like, babe, get up, and he was not responding at all. So I ran in the house, got my phone, I called 911. I'm like, y'all gotta hurry up. My husband's been shot, and they're asking, the address and everything, and the police got there. They got there pretty fast, and he died in my arms. I heard, like, the gurgling sound in his throat.
Tyrone had been struck 4 times, 3 of the shots hitting his head.
I heard everything. I was laying there, like, because he was, like, propped up against the truck like this, so I was just laying there on top of him. I was hoping that he would blink or touch me or something. I was just hoping that I would just hear something or something would give me hope, but it didn't happen. The police got there and the ambulance got there, and then they took him away to the hospital. And once they took him to the hospital, I went to the hospital and I sat there for a while. I was there for some hours. I sat there with him, even though I knew that he had passed on already. I still sat there with him because I don't know. I just had to look at him. I didn't really want to see him because I didn't like the way the blood and everything. Sure. But he was covered and his hands were just so cold. And I just sat there and I laid his hand like kind of on my face a little bit. And we just sat there for a little bit, and that was it. And then at that point, then the rest of the family started coming into the hospital.
Yeah, that's tough. So did you see anybody when you went outside? Was there, I mean, you heard the shots, you're right there.
I heard the shots, but, and a lot of the police were saying that witnesses heard tires screeching. I didn't hear any of that. And I think that the reason why I didn't hear it because I was just so shocked about hearing the gunshots and seeing my husband laid out that I know I didn't see anybody because I didn't even look around. I instantly ran outside to him, like ran right down the stairs to him.
Fair enough. Is there anybody suspected of doing this?
No. My husband was a good guy. Like, anybody that the police talked to, they only heard positive things about him. Like, I don't think they got one negative thing from anybody when they talked to him, and I'm pretty sure they talked to the whole city.
You didn't have any enemies or anything?
Not that I know of.
As far as clearing you today, did you ever think about doing anything to your husband? Did it ever cross your mind, even in the darkest of times, or anything like that? Did you ever do anything? He's not mistreating you, he's not out running around, he's not...
Because he never did anything to me that would make me feel like I didn't want to be with him anymore. And that's another thing that I was saying, like, you know, it wouldn't have to be anything like this. Like, if I didn't want to be with him, we could just get a divorce, you know? But
yeah, we got a kid, too.
Exactly.
And I think the kids need to be with mom. That's huge.
Yeah, you know? And that's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted a family. I never, and that's the father of my child. That's who I want to be with. I got his initials tattooed on me before we were even official boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, when we got together, I knew that that's who I wanted to be with. And I've always felt like that.
That's it. So there wasn't any time you ever, no planning, never talked to anybody, there's nothing in anywhere, okay. And these are just questions that I asked I have to go through.
No.
There's no reason, anything forensically, computer-wise, I mean, like I said, when I was in computer crimes, I mean, Snapchat, Facebook, everybody thinks like all those, I mean, they got all those new things like, oh, what is it, a signal and all those things, they're in your phone, they're not gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Snapchat tells you that, so you'll send that naked picture away. And
yeah.
You think it's gone, but it's there.
Yeah.
So, they'll take all that stuff out. There's nothing in your phone that's going to be anything bad.
They have my phone right now.
Okay. No, I'm just saying there's nothing bad in there. Okay.
No. This is the second time having my phone.
Okay. What kind of person do you think would be involved in this?
A maniac. Somebody who's probably psychotic.
What's the best reason you think someone would be involved in this?
The best reason?
Yeah. Maybe not doing it, but being part of it. What would be the best reason you think someone got themselves wrapped up in this?
I honestly have no idea. I couldn't even think as to why somebody would want to do something like that. Not even just to him, just to somebody in general.
Mm-hmm. What do you think should happen?
Jail time. honestly, because I don't want to say anything bad.
What do you mean?
I just feel like if that's what they would do, then they should get it in return. Because why would I be okay with you being able to sit in a jail cell where you're able to see your family, you're still able to get up, eat, drink, see your loved ones? I can't see my husband anymore.
Yeah. If you were to walk in the room right now, what would he say to you?
I don't know what, my husband?
Yeah. I mean, they know everything. He's gone now. He knows everything.
Yeah.
What would he say if he saw you right now?
Probably just tell me everything will be okay and that he loves me. And that's just what I've been thinking about this whole time, because I don't know. I felt that maybe I probably was tripping and just was seeing stuff, but the whole time we've been here, we have not been able to find my son's charger for his tablet. The day before yesterday, it magically appeared. And we have not seen it since December 20th. All the way up until January 10th is when his charger was found.
Oh, is that?
That's strange, and I feel like, with everything that's been said, everything that he knows already,
Hassel lays it on thick, portraying herself as the brave, grieving widow. It is the same act that she displayed on social media, although quite a few people were skeptical. I just released an intense video showing the full confession of a cold-blooded murderer that was able to evade justice for 40 years until he was finally caught, thanks to DNA technology. You can watch his chilling confession, plus many more Patreon-exclusive videos right now at patreon.com/Stranger Stories Plus.
I feel like he's still being that helping hand that he knows that I need,
Yeah. What would you say to him if you walked in the room right now?
I would just tell him to just come back. Somebody asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said a time machine. Either me going back with the information that I know now, or me just being able to keep him in the house longer and not bring him to the house. And I don't know, I got to a point where I kind of started blaming myself a little bit, because I was feeling in myself, just say never mind, just eat something at the house. But I felt like I was kind of rushing him to hurry up and get home to bring him something to eat, because the baby's like, eat. And I was like, hurry up and bring something to the house, because he keeps saying that he's hungry.
Do you think a person deserves a second chance? Someone's involved with this? Not saying they necessarily did it, but they're involved with it. In any way, should get a second chance?
Mm-mm.
No?
My husband didn't have a chance to do anything.
No. Have you ever been accused of something in your life you didn't do?
Nothing serious like this. I've been accused of oh, she said this, she's done that, but nothing serious like this.
What percent of the truth have you been with the detectives?
100%. From the time that I called them up until today.
How do you feel about taking this test today?
I need to take it. I have to clear my name. At this point, I really don't have a choice. And if I did have a choice, I would do what I need to do to...
You always have a choice.
Do I?
Right, that's what I'm saying, but we get you through it. How do you think the test is going to come out?
Good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be positive, or however the test is.
Let's talk about questions. Do you want me to ask? What can I ask in this test that you can pass? You know 100%. There's no doubt in your mind. I don't want any gray area. This is you and I, okay? We can modify questions. I can change questions. But I don't want to ask you a question you can't pass. Because I fail you, then I'm stuck. Then I'm battling trying to get you out of that hole.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'll be honest with you, doing this 24 years, I've seen people get themselves wound up in the stupidest things in the world, but they're not bad people. So I don't want to ask you a question you can't pass. So how can I word a question that you feel good that you can pass? What can I ask you?
Just like the one with, do you love your husband? I think that's a pretty good question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And since I've talked to the police and everything, you asked me, do I know who the person is who did it? That's a good question, because I know who it is since I've talked to the police. And or would I do anything to hurt my husband? No.
Yeah, I don't think you would. I mean, especially not now. I don't know if there's anything in the past. Did you, what if, and like I said, I want to be really careful. I want to make sure you're good with it. Because this is you and I. I'm working for you today, all right? As far as, did you plan with anybody, or did you participate, or did you know this was going to happen? Anything like that?
But that's what pretty much what they're saying.
They are saying that too?
That's what the police are saying.
Well, I'm just trying to clear you the most, and that's why I said, when we get done with this test, I'm not going to go and talk to them.
Yeah,
right?
And that's the thing.
You and I'll talk. We need to rearrange something.
Yeah, that's the thing that overwhelms me so much, hearing them say, well, you did this, you planned this, and it's like, no.
You know, I'm not saying that at all. I don't say that.
Exactly.
That's not, I'm asking you, I'm just trying to clear you the much again. If you can't pass that, I don't want to put something on your test you can't pass. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
why I list those questions that I said, because I feel like those would probably be the best ones.
Okay. So as far as participate's the one I like to use the word, like, participate's a pretty broad question, but it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's
you know
clear.
I mean?
Did you have a hand in it, or did you not have a hand in it, pretty much?
It's telling you in any way. I mean, there's a million ways. If I look at this scenario, I can paint it different ways, or I can think of different ways it could happen.
Exactly.
You may be just what you said, 100% truthful, and that's good. You'll pass test flying colors. But you may have said, hey, said to you, maybe your girlfriend or whoever, or this guy, there's a guy, Jeremy, that's involved. You work with Jeremy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is why this has thrown me for a loop, because I work like, as close as we are, I work like that. Like, it's what kind of confused me. And talking to the detectives is the police or the detectives is what kind of like threw me for a loop, for them to say, you know, he's saying this, he's saying that, and it's like, why would he even be saying that? And the police was like, oh, well, we feel like you're making an excuse. And I'm like, making an excuse for what? You know? That's why I just felt like I was so overwhelmed. But
okay. Jeremy, what kind of a guy is he?
The type of person that he is, he's like a firecracker. Like I told the police, he's a firecracker. Like, the smallest thing can set him off, and no matter what it is, he'll be mad all day about it. It can be the smallest thing. So like, say for instance, we're late for work, and say one day I'm late for work, but my NCOs don't say anything, and let's say later on in the week he's late for work, and he gets a counseling statement. And you know, too many counseling statements, you can get in trouble. And he's like, oh, why the F y'all give me a counseling statement? Or, you know, he'll blow up about it and be upset all day because of something like that.
Hassel isn't even going to try to make Kuller sound innocent. Instead, she decides to set it up so he will be the one to take the fall.
When I find that kind of personality, sometimes they're very manipulative people. They can be very strong that way. If he blows up, stuff like that. Was he with you? Has he ever been pushy with you or manipulative to you? Is he one of those kind of guys that is he, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. I haven't really experienced it like on a serious level with him, but like being around and like hearing him talk on the phone and hear how he talks, he can be like that, definitely.
And the reason I say it too is I know in my uncle's situation where he said, okay, the guy he was with, it's almost like when he's with him, it took over. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't know if there's anything with this guy. If he's one of those guys that's kind of, you know, possessive, controlling, things like that.
He is though, because like with the other people that we work with, he can like tell somebody, oh, you need to make sure you're standing up for yourself. Like with that firecracker temper, and it'll pretty much just make the other person that we work with act the same way, like literally the same way, like it just passed on to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like you said, it's manipulative, but I don't know, it's just something where it's like a firecracker temper where he just blows up about anything.
Right. As far as with you, has you been, and I say this, and I know you're in the service, when you get in the service and you're in these stressful situations, you got guys, I remember being over there, and I know that it seems like sometimes, I want to say ladies are not mistreated, but they're kind of pushed on harder, you know what I'm saying? And it's a guy's world over there, kind of. You know
It definitely
Okay,
is.
I'm not being offensive, I'm saying.
No, you're not, because I work with only males.
Okay, and I don't care for it, I don't like it, I mean, it's just one of those things, that's the atmosphere that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Was he ever manipulative with you, or did he ever push you? I mean, is there anything, this is you and I talking as far as, are you guys, did he ever try anything with you? You guys ever have a relationship? You may have, I don't know, I don't care. That's here or there.
But honestly,
when you're as old as I am, I mean, everybody does some stupid stuff. That's the way we are.
But honestly, with the position, he's lower ranking than I was, so there's never a situation where he had to tell me something to do and just, kind of like overpower me. Like, no situation where he had to overpower me. However, I told the same thing like I told the police when we were there. I was, his leaning shoulder. Like, if he needed somebody to talk to about certain things, I definitely would talk to him. But I was like that with everybody that I worked with. Because even my platoon sergeant is an E7. I'm an E4. She's extremely higher ranking than I am, but she lost her husband 6 years ago, and she was dealing with a lot of stuff, and she would always come to me and talk to me, and I was like that for anybody. So that's when they were saying that, you guys were in a relationship. I'm like, no, like, he could have felt a way about me, and I didn't know, because, I was being a good person. He could have taken my niceness and my kindness for something that it was not, and that's what I was telling him.
And I ain't just history. This is no judgment zone. I don't care.
Yeah, and then
I just
like,
want.
Have you kissed him? Like, what is something that would make him, upset? And I'm like, no, like, we've never even had sex or anything. And I told him that because, like I said, I have like a skin condition. And plus, my body doesn't look the same after I have my son. So I know that if I have a man who loves me and loves the way my body looks, I wouldn't even try to test it out with somebody else to see if they would like it or not, because I already have somebody who I know loves it, so why would I try to do it with somebody else? And then when I would ask them stuff like that, and it wasn't like really me asking them, it was me asking myself and just kind of thinking out loud. They're like, well, we feel like you're asking stuff like that because you're making excuses for what happened. I'm like, I'm not, trying to make an excuse for anything. This is not an excusable moment. I'm just thinking out loud, saying that this is a crazy situation.
I understand. And one of the things too, you're familiar with postpartum and all that stuff too. Women, when they go through kids, though, I'm telling you what, there's a lot of relationships that really struggle around the 1 year mark because of the stresses and the hormones. Because you go through so many hormones that when they come back down, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not fair to you. I remember my wife went through, but what I'm saying is a lot of girls do stray at that time. And that's not fault of your own. That's a hormonal thing. I mean, we do have men, we're animals. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and
so the point of it is, I don't judge that. There's so many things that go on with people. I'm not here. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. I just want to make sure if you're involved with him or something, if he's pushing any buttons, I don't want something he's done to bring you down.
Yeah, and they were asking. I told them, I was like, we are good friends. Like, we talked a lot, like, especially in Korea, because it was.
During their deployment to Korea, Hassel refused to share a home with her husband and would not allow him into her room. Instead, she stayed at the same barracks as Kuller, where their affair was discovered. Tyrone refused to believe the other officers.
That we literally worked right up under each other, so we didn't really have a choice but to get close with everybody that we worked with. I mean, we didn't really have that much of a choice. So when they asked, and I told them, like, yeah, we're work friends because we never went out anywhere by ourselves. And they were like, oh, well, first you said that you guys are work friends, and then you said that you would be his shoulder to cry on.
Let's not talk about those guys. I don't care what they say. It doesn't matter. If there's something there, I'm
we
just
were
saying.
good friends. So when we would talk about stuff, we would talk about, things going on in our lives. But there was never a situation where I said, do this to him. It was never, nothing was ever planned out. Nothing was, put together or any other way that you can say planned out. None of that.
Okay.
Like, if he had like this vendetta or anything against my husband, it was all mental, because there was never a situation where I told him, I would tell him, like, no, he doesn't really open the door for me. I open the door for myself, and like stuff like that. He's like, if he doesn't open the door for you, like, he'll get mad about stuff like that. I'm like, it's not that serious. I don't really care if my husband opens the door for me or not, because that stuff doesn't bother me, My husband, like, if I care for my husband, like, you need to be open the door for me, I would express that to him. So if we're having, like, a regular talk, because he's married, from what I know. So if we're having a regular conversation about our spouses, and he's like, yeah, my wife, she does this, does that. I was like, oh, my husband don't do that. And he'll be like, what? He doesn't hold the door open for you? Or what? He makes you pay for your own food sometimes? And I'm like, yeah, that's normal. And that's why I was saying that if there was like a personal vendetta against him, that could have been what it was. Just me being normal and venting about stuff that
And we
was
do,
going on.
and guys and girls, it's the most dangerous thing because you vent to each other and what happens?
And you
And
vent to each other,
he's
and
into you, he could be into you, and
exactly.
then he's kind of
And then
building
you
on there.
never know, and it's just like one day somebody just snaps and you're like, why are you even acting like that? And it's because they just built this imaginary relationship because of all the emotions and feelings that they have gained from y'all just having what you felt was regular conversation and just being able to get certain stuff off your chest.
And that can happen, and that does happen. You know what I'm saying? What's also important is if there is something more there, I don't care. I just don't want, I'll know the truth in a little while. You know, we go through this, I just don't want to paint you in some corner because you don't belong. And there's one thing I know right now, you're not somebody I got to worry about, and I don't want to do that because this guy just, everything I heard about Jeremy, some of the things you're saying, whether you realize it or not, he's a flag. He's got some issues there that I don't like the way that he's kind of manipulative, you know what I'm saying, telling you his problems about his girl, what's he doing? He's trying to bring you closer. Whether you realize it or not, you're probably a nice enough person, you don't realize you're maybe naive.
Yeah, and
that might
like,
be part of it.
I think that's what it was, that I didn't realize that that's what was going on because like I said, like anybody, I would try to help as much as possible as I could. And that's probably what it was that felt like we were getting closer and that we could have been together. And it's like, just because I have these problems in my relationship doesn't mean I want to jump into another relationship and have probably the same or worse. Exactly.
It does make us vulnerable. I mean, we've all been through this. We go through the lows, and especially you you're having a hormone thing. There's no doubt about it. Every girl goes through
Definitely.
it. Where you go through that, and it causes you distress and things like that. So, all right. Well, as far as questions today, let's talk some questions. As far as, did you participate in that man's death? Who's that man?
My husband.
Right. Did you participate in any way?
No.
Okay. You didn't call Jeremy, you didn't text him, you didn't say, hey, he didn't know that he was going to be there, you didn't bring him back. And I'm covering everything. What participate would be, right? Okay. And anyway, participate would be that he says, hey, I'm going to come up there, I'm going to wait for your husband, and we're going to be together forever. I mean, just, you may have hooked him really bad. I mean, it can happen. You know, where guys fall in love, they get kooky, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't know this was going to happen, you had no idea that he was going to come up there. Okay. I want to pass you understand that. So if there's an issue here, I don't want to ask you this question. The prosecutor did you pass the test?
Okay.
That's what they want to know. So you and I got to come up with questions that are 100%, no gray area. So you're good with that 100%?
What would be other questions if I wasn't good with that 100%?
We'll work on it. I'm open. If there's something here.
Because the only thing is, what my concern is now that I know.
You know, I don't care whether you knew. I don't care if he came up. Now, let's say we don't know for sure. Man, I know at this point. As we're in this room, right now, I'm telling you, this ball's turning so fast right now. Since, yesterday I think it was when they first talked to him or whatever it was, to now or when they picked him up. So I don't know how much time or how many times you've talked to him, but I mean, I wouldn't want to. This would be my only concern. I wouldn't want to make sure he's not setting you, because there's times where they paint it. It's kind of like the person whose hands goes out. And to be honest with you, you're here because these guys in Michigan, this is their case. Yeah. It's not Georgia's case. Exactly. I don't give a shit what they're doing there. Yeah. But the hand's out to you today. If this is something where you're involved in any way, this is the time to jump on board, because everybody knows the mom belongs to the child. Everybody knows you didn't do this. But everybody, if you are involved in it, you're kind of being dealt with good cards right now. So my point is, I don't want somebody in Georgia, if they're playing that end, to start painting the picture that you're the mastermind and you're a bad person.
Which I think is what's happening.
Well, I don't want that to happen.
I don't want that either.
Because if you've been talking to him and they're down there and they're in that end making everything happen, because, I'll be honest with you, this is not against the law. He could be, and I'm not saying this is happening, I don't know if you've talked to him at all. My point is, he could call you, they can have him already hooked up on that end, and he's saying, listen, I'll call her, I'm going to work with you guys. Well, what's he doing?
The detective has done his job well, and Hassel believes that he is on her side and believes that she is innocent. This couldn't be further from the truth, but that belief has made her comfortable to speak more than she should.
Working for them and cutting the deal or whatever.
Right. That's not going to happen. The good thing is, you're in Michigan, and this is a Michigan case. So what I'm saying is, the hand is out now for you to get out in front of us. I always say, an opportunity, the window exists so long before that window closes. Yeah. And you being here today, somebody cares about you. Somebody sees the good in you because they know that, hey, this person deserves that opportunity. I don't know if there's anything there. I just want to get you through this.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying with the participate, because like we were saying, it was broad, and that's why I was saying that it wasn't intentional with me being there for him, to speak to him and everything. And I feel like if that's what sent him overboard, then yeah, I participated in it. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, when I'm talking that night,
That's
when we'll
how
talk about
I'm
that night,
feeling.
let me do it this way. We'll make it, did you participate in that man's death that night?
No.
So there wasn't anything where you planned prior, when you
No.
talked to, never made a plan, never planned it, okay.
No plan.
Did you, and what would be a plan? How would we make a plan? Let's say you and I are going to do this, what could we do?
We would have to get the 5 W's, when, where, how.
Something, yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
say something, or at least say, hey, or you know, you could just tell me, let's say we're planning this, you say, Andy, just do it, get this done. I don't care how you do it, when you do it, I just want it to be done because I got a little boy, and I'm not saying, I don't know anything about your husband, all right, and you say he's a great husband, he might be, but I know my wife's not the best wife, you know what I mean? No, I'm just not being a jerk.
No,
So
I
she's
understand.
good, but there's some problems. I mean, if I were going to vent to you, I mean, yeah, we could talk till tomorrow morning, you know what I'm saying? But my point being is, in saying that, if Tyrone had problems or he wasn't a good dad, as moms, I'm going to tell you right now, your biggest job is to care for Chunk. And you got to make sure he's good, he's got a good dad, he's got a good role model, because you can see, and women can see it. I've seen it where they look down the road and say, this is going nowhere. My boy's going to end up being, like you were talking about your relative that you said is just hanging with the bad people.
Yep, really.
Those
smart.
people, your job is to look out for that child. So in saying that, sometimes, I guess, the greater good is served by maybe not a good means sometimes. And I've seen it happen. Because if you are involved in this, you're worried about your kid, and there's outside factors that you're concerned about, and you got a guy down there who's in love with you, and, I mean, you give him the wrong signal or something, I don't want something like that to set you off. You never told him to go ahead and do it, or just get it done, or anything like this. There's nothing,
No.
You guys didn't plan it anyway.
No.
Okay, so you'd be good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy, because just to think about planning something like this, knowing that I have a child and there's a possibility that my child could be taken away, what? No, never. I wouldn't do anything to have my child taken away from me.
Oh, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not, your child needs you.
Yeah.
I mean, I see when you talk about them, your eyes light up. It's just,
Yeah.
it's great to see. I've seen moms that I will make sure they don't have their child.
Because it's crazy, like, with him not having his father anymore, I'm all he has.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, you know, if he's with my parents or his in-laws or whatever, he's well taken care of. But if he does not have me, he doesn't have his dad, at that point, then who/what does he have?
I agree.
So why would I even jeopardize something like that? And especially my freedom?
All right. So as far as if I ask, did you participate in his death? Did you participate in his death? And did you plan with anyone? I'll say anyone, because we won't say, we may not know for sure it's him. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure that you're good with those. There's not things in your past. You're not breaking trust in the past of your husband. You're not lying. You're not losing your temper, stuff like that. Because if somebody did this, it'd have to be somebody that has a violent streak in them, wouldn't they? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, that's a big step. You know what I mean?
That's a huge step.
And it depends on the reason. I do tell you that it depends on the reason why something happened. If you're doing it for the good of your child or something like that, there's a lot of reasons I can see in your situation. But any other thing is being military, I will tell you. Yeah, I don't worry about that. It's everybody's does, and we'll talk about that. But being a military person, I can say we get not jaded, but we get the point of what's going on, what's important in life. You know what I mean? And some things, I mean, to be honest, you could be faced with life and death situations all the time there, where you're at. And so we look at things a little bit differently. So I understand that, just being over there, that sometimes for the greater good, things have to be done. So I'm not saying that, but if you're involved in any way, I just don't. And matter of fact, whatever we do today, I'm going to talk to you before I talk to anybody else. Okay? So I want to make sure I'm asking easy questions today. I'm asking our lights on in this room. Why do you think I asked you that?
To make sure that, I mean, it's an easy question.
It's 100% the truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything should look just like that.
Exactly.
All right? Are we Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay? Probably those are 2 easy questions we'll use. And then I'll ask you questions about your past. Make sure you're not a violent person in the past. And I'll ask you those questions there that we talked about.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is we're going to take a break. I'll take you out in that big long hallway. Those guys are all the way down. They're in a conference room down that way, so they can't come out.
Okay.
So we're going to go back down the hallway here. I will take in, there's a restroom there, there's a stairs. You just kind of walk around. We got a lot of pictures up there and stuff. And then it takes me a good 15, 20 minutes to put all these questions in the computer and get it set up.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and review them.
Okay.
All right? What was going on? Did he just start working you? Did it start in Korea? Is that where everything started going? Because there's no doubt about it. This whole relationship's going.
In Korea, that's where it started. Like, we weren't sexual or anything, but we were really close.
But you are now.
We are really close.
You guys were probably sexual somewhere throughout all this. You have to be to have this kind of, for him to get this hold on you, he's had to break through sexually to you, I'm guessing, first.
Not even just sexually. was feeling so bad, like, with Todd. Like, nothing me not wanting to be with him, but just how I was being treated. I was just feeling so bad. And it's just like he was just there, like, listening and everything. Like, he listened, like, he listened to me, and I felt like with Todd, it was times where he wouldn't listen to me. And that's who I would talk to when things weren't going the way I needed them to go with my husband. I would talk to him.
We've all been there. And when that happens, what's he doing though? He wants you. He wants you for himself. There's no doubt about that. And he gets you sucked in, and because he becomes such a close friend. And you know what? You guys match just like this, don't you? That's what those guys do. They match to you because you're what he wants. So he's going to be everything that you think he's going to be. And I'm not saying today you do this. Before you saw. I mean, it takes us sometimes to stumble before we see the light. But you're not the person that did this. You got to get out in front of us. You got to explain the whole thing. But being part of it, there's no doubt about it, you were. And I'm stuck with that. But I don't want to tell them that. I want to be able to explain that first and say, hey, listen, this is what happened, but this is the girl who was in Korea, away from her little one. The stress that they put on a female, I can't imagine. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why the armed services let a mom go away from the little one. That stress alone is enough. And then you got a guy, and I'm going to tell you right now, Ty's not the greatest guy in the world. I don't know whether you know he's not, but he had condoms in his pocket when he was bound. That day he had condoms in his pocket when he was going back to the party. So I know he probably wasn't the best husband all the time. I get it. If anybody gets it, it's me. Because getting cheated on and, you know, a guy who's not committed to you and he's not giving you the attention you deserve, everybody gets it. When the hormones you're going through, it's not balanced well. You can't balance it. There's people that need medication for that kind of stuff when your hormones are out of balance. And if that's what it was and he's feeling that need and he talks you into something, then get out in front of it, because everybody gets swindled. Everybody gets hooked into these things. And if that's all I'm talking about, then we got to explain what was going on. Where did the steps go down? Because this started back in Korea. You guys started this relationship, and this relationship progressed. I know that. I'm not judging. Trust me, I understand that part of it, especially because you probably know that Ty's, he's doing things on the side. He's probably been out there somewhat.
There was never any indication that Tyrone was having an affair, but the detective will say anything necessary to get Hassel to incriminate herself.
It happens. You're feeling alone. You're 2,000 miles away from home. You're 2,000 miles away from your little kid, and you got a guy who's, you know what, he's everything when you're out there. When I was in Iraq, I'm telling you what, I don't know if I ever felt more alone in my life. I was on a base with a bunch of people, but I didn't know anybody. My wife wasn't there, nobody was there. I was by myself. I've never felt that in my life like I did when I was over there. It's a feeling that only people that have been there understand. When you got a guy right there who's willing, I mean, I can't imagine, I'll be honest with you, if I was working with a girl over there, and she was nice to me, and I would have felt. There's just no doubt about it. It's just because of the situations that we're in. And you going through all the hormonal stuff, you're a victim in this. I'm going to be honest with you, but you need to get out in front of this right now. For your little one, you got to get out in front of this, and you got to explain what was going on. What did you guys start talking about? I'm sure this started back in the Korea, the plans, and he's telling you how it's going to be and all this. But this is the time to get out in front. I won't bail on you, but we got to get out in front of this.
So, when we were in Korea, I can't really pinpoint exactly when it was. Me and Ty had this big argument, and then, you know, I came back into the building, I was talking to Jeremy. I'm like, man, I don't want to be with him no more. Like, I'm tired of this shit, you know, I don't want to deal with it no more. And he was like, so why y'all still together? And I was like, you know, we have a child, and even if I talked to him about divorcing, he probably wouldn't even, you know, do it with me. And he was like, I can handle that. And I was like, you know, what do you mean by that? He was like, I can handle it. Like, shit, when I get back, I get a gun, blah, blah, blah. But I never took him serious about it. I never thought that he would.
No, wait, this is where, stop here though. Okay, I'm in your corner 110%. I'm not bailing. But the one thing I don't do, I'm not a guy that's going to beat around the bush and go halfway and say that, yeah, he told me this and he was going to do it. Because when I asked you about that night, it's killing you. Because that night, stuff was going down. And whether you weren't sure what was going to happen, you were afraid, you want to keep your little one out of it, you didn't want it to happen in the house, I get that. And I give you credit for letting it happen outside the house. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you didn't get him out of the house, if he'd have stayed with you probably till midnight or 12:30, I'm not too sure Jeremy wouldn't come in that house. Because what's he want? He wants you. You know what I'm saying? And you knew that was going to happen. What I got to do is talk to that. Because they got him coming there. They know he's coming there. You knew he was coming there. What we need to do is talk about that, because this is off the charts. I'm only telling you what's off the charts. We need to talk about that night. You knew it was going to go down. You were still under his control. There's no doubt. I believe that 100%. But you got to explain what was going on that night. How did you do it? Did you know he was sitting there? He was there for a couple days, so you knew all this was going on. Were you guys seeing each other while he was in Michigan?
We were.
Now listen, Did you see them while you're missing? Because they're going to take your phone apart. When they take your phone apart, it's all there. So what I want to say is, before they do that, I want you to be honest with me. Because if you guys are planning this, yeah, do it. And you're still, because you know what? You know Ty's not being the best husband. You know that. You're in a lost spot. This guy had you since Korea. He knew that. He's been working you since Korea. That is so common, you don't even realize what happens. Especially with everything that's going on. You're caring for a young one, all this stuff. But we got to talk about that night. Because there's no doubt about it when you planned it. You know what I'm saying? And I see you plan. I'm not saying you planned it, but you're part of that plan. So how did it go that night? Let's talk about that night. Then we'll back up. Then we're gonna reorganize all this. Okay? Talk to me.
That night, he said that he was in Michigan. He said that he was waiting for him. When he was saying that he was waiting for him, I'm like, no, he's not at the house. I don't really know where he is, but he's not at the house. I told him, I said, he's gonna be coming back soon. He came back to the house. Nothing happened.
You called him back to this. So was that
no? When he went to Walmart.
Oh, he went to Walmart. Okay.
Yeah. I said he's gonna be coming back. I said he just left. He's gonna be coming back soon. He came back from Walmart. Nothing happened. Nothing happened when he left, and nothing happened when he came back. So from there, I was just like, okay, this is not gonna happen. So when he told us about the food, he was saying that he was gonna get the food, and then wondering where the food is, and I was gonna say, never mind, don't bring the food. And then I just said, then I was like, okay, well, you're gonna bring the food anyways, just bring it. And then he was out there, and he was watching the house the whole time.
He knew he was there. Where
was there.
Where was he hiding at? Where did you have him at?
He was somewhere about the house, but I don't know exactly because I never told him hide right here because I don't really know the area. He was out there days before, like figuring out where he was going to be.
Okay. And you guys now, remember you and I talking about being 100%, because you and I got to be 100%, then we can talk about this, as far as talking to them. Because I want to get this right first, so we have it a good foot going forward. So the plan, when did you start making this plan that was going to happen?
This came in Korea.
So when you're out there underneath all the stress, this all comes out. All right, so he gets you going then, you guys do this. And when did you guys become romantic? Because he obviously became romantic, because nobody does this for a girl they're not with. You know what I'm saying? I get it, I'm not.
We were maybe about, maybe April, so maybe about 2 months into Korea.
Okay.
Now that Hassel believes that she is being seen as a victim, she is willing to admit that she knew what Queller was going to do that night. What she doesn't seem to realize is that she is just as responsible for her husband's death, and this will not prevent her from serving time in prison.
So all that time you're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
All right.
And June was when me and Ty had the argument, and he was like, I'll get it done and I'll do it.
Okay. And then when did you come back?
I came back October.
In October you come back. So you started something. Now you were talking about doing it in Korea.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why did you do it in Korea?
No, it was just planned in Korea. It wasn't to be done in Korea. It was just planned in Korea when we got back to the States.
Okay. So you get back to the States. Let's kind of go through it step by step. You start talking. Your relationship with Ty going down?
It wasn't really going down, but it wasn't being picked back up to where it used to be. It was kind of like, it was still low, but it wasn't becoming higher than what it needed to be, or what it used to be.
So where you wanted it back up to, he wasn't bringing it back up?
He wasn't bringing it back up.
Okay. Do you think some of that is because you had this interest now in Jeremy? And you and Jeremy's kind of all that. Was he kind of filled that void, didn't he? I mean, as far as the things that Ty wasn't giving you, Jeremy was.
Emotionally, yeah, he was.
Okay. And so the plan was obviously that he's going to do this. So this starts going, how does it start to progress?
Well, it just started to progress by us being back here, and he's like, I want to see you. When can I see you? Can you come over here? And I'm like, I can't do that because we're back stateside now. And he's like, well, I need to hurry up and get this done, which is when it was brought up again, because we planned it, but I didn't take it serious because
Stop. Now listen, this is where you and I stay straight, because you didn't take it serious because you knew he was out there that night with a gun. I mean, so you know what's gonna.
Yeah.
You may not take these double serious.
But in the beginning.
You're doing talk.
Exactly.
But you want to be with Jeremy, right? At this point, he has you believing that this is the guy.
At this point, yeah, that this is the person that I need to be with, that is gonna do everything for me and my son.
Okay. And Jeremy says, and I'm just telling you something that Jeremy says. Jeremy says you weren't going to divorce him because if he died, you got that money, so they'd give your boy a good start.
No.
He's saying the money is like $400,000 or something you're going to get or something.
That's what our life insurance is. But
Right.
that's the life insurance. I haven't even got any of that.
Okay, but that would give your boy a good start. Because Jeremy knew about that. You
Yeah,
guys,
but
you told him about that?
all of the soldiers have it. It's a requirement. Everybody has it.
Okay, so you guys just knew that would
So
be something you
already
would get.
knew, yeah.
Okay, and that was one of the reasons he decided to do it rather than just divorce it. Is that right?
That's another reason, yes.
Okay, well that makes sense though. You know what I'm saying? At least you're looking out for your son. You know what I mean? You're gonna have something because without a husband, it takes a while to get on your feet. Now, what is the plan? Like once this is done, are you gonna move back down there? Are you gonna be with Jeremy? Was he gonna say once you get back down to Georgia, are you guys gonna hook back up? What's the plan?
Yeah, so the plan was, I get back to Georgia, and then he moves in and we go from there, just being together.
Okay. Yeah. So now, when he comes up that day, how do you text him that you're calling him back with the food? How do you tell him that he's coming back? Does he come in? Let's be honest now. Remember, because I told you when they take these phones apart, I don't want to say that I believe in you 100% and say, hey, listen, this is what she told me. I believe she's 100%, and then find out that your Snapchats and all that stuff say.
I told him that he was bringing us back something.
He's bringing back the food. So where was he at? Where do you say? Where am I at? Because it's going to come out. It's going to all show up.
So when he came back from Walmart and it didn't happen.
Did you just not see him, or what happened? What did he say?
I don't know what happened. Maybe he got...
Well, you've talked to him since then.
I think he said that he had somebody with him in the car.
Okay.
Hassel is hedging her answers. She knows that the more interactions she admits to having with Kruller that night, the more difficult it will be to convince a jury that she didn't help plan every step of Tyrone's murder.
And I think that's why he said that it didn't happen. And he was just like, never mind, we'll just try another day. And he was still in the area, and then I said, well, he's about to bring us something to eat. And then that's when he came back.
Okay, so actually, he was going to call it off because he had the guy, because he got rid of that guy. I think the guy who got cold feet, from what I understand. Because he's talking on that end, you know what I'm saying? So you called him and said, well, hold on, he's coming back to bring food.
Yeah, I said that he was coming back to bring us something to eat.
Okay. So he comes back and hides. You guys see each other face to face. Because he's at the house, right by the house. Does he ever come in that house? Because
we never seen each other face to face the entire time he was there. Even when he came, like, before, he would be like, well, come outside, come meet me. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. We never met face to face. Even though he asked, we never met face to face.
Okay, so you didn't go outside. Why didn't you go outside? Because you knew he was casing the place for a couple days.
Because I knew he was, and then two, I don't know the area, so I didn't know if somebody could have been outside watching, and then it was other times where he would say, come outside, and my stepmom-in-law would be in the house, and I'd be like, no.
Okay. So, kind of recap, this all starts in Korea. What is going to come out in the Snapchat that we're not talking about yet? I mean, I want to make you look as honest. Being honest with me now looks better than them just painting a picture. You know what I'm saying? You're telling them to hold on and come back. You're calling them back. You wanted it done that night rather than waiting for another day? Would that be?
Yeah, pretty much, because we were supposed to be leaving on the 2nd.
You're supposed to live on the 2nd.
We were
Where?
supposed to be leaving, going back to Georgia on the 2nd. And another thing is, his sister was supposed to be coming back to Georgia with us. And that's another thing that I didn't want to happen, but Todd didn't really give me a say, so he's like, well, my mama can't take care of her, and I have to look out for my siblings, so she's going to come stay with us. And while we were in Colorado, his brother was living with us.
And that's not fair to you, really, is it?
We didn't really have time to enjoy our own space, because as soon as we got married and we were living off-post in an apartment, the next month he went and got his brother, and he stayed with us all the way up until maybe a couple months before we left Colorado.
Okay. All right, so this time he's going to bring his sister on the 2nd.
Yeah.
So you didn't want it to happen down there with her. So were you kind of looking out for her?
Yeah.
Or didn't you just want it?
Kind of looking out for her, too. But mainly, I just knew I didn't want, another thing, I didn't want her coming to stay with us.
Okay. So you didn't want to go down there. You didn't want her to come with you, that's in other words. So you wanted it done before you left? Okay. Were you pretty adamant with them? I mean, what are the messages going to show you? Like, hey,
yeah,
get this done
I'd be
now?
like, hey, hurry up, he's on the way back, or don't leave yet, he's outside, or it's just messages like that.
Was Jeremy getting cold feet?
I don't think he was getting cold feet, because every time that he would come out and wasn't able to do it, it was something. Like, I remember one time Todd came home and he had, like, his brother with him. I think every time it was like he had somebody with him.
Mm-hmm. And so he didn't want to do it with somebody with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Ty came home, he had somebody with him, you're saying?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the other times where he would be at the house, I think that was the reason why he didn't get Kofi. He just didn't want.
You know what? You know what that says for you guys? I mean, that's actually, I mean, you look at it, you didn't want to take out somebody who didn't belong. You know what I mean? You wanted Ty gone, but you didn't want to hurt somebody innocent. That's you know what I mean? That says something for you. There are a lot of people who just shoot everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as now, are you sad that you planned this out with him?
Yeah. That's why, even though I wasn't being 100% truthful in the beginning, that's why I kept saying that.
Would you say you weren't 100% truthful? That's a kind of a major 100%. You were
because of
you were
saying that
25%. Would you agree that? I mean,
yeah.
that's huge. I mean, I almost think with these guys,
But that's why when I kept saying that, if with what I know now, if I could, I would go back and not do it. I wouldn't even talk to Jeremy at all, knowing that everything would have gone like this.
But Jeremy was going to go and you called him back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I get why you called him back. I mean, knowing now, what do you think should happen to you right now?
I don't know. Because myself, I feel just as guilty as him.
Well, I agree. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, you helped plan it. I mean, he was going to leave that night. He said, no, get it done because you want it done before the 2nd, before you leave. So on New Year's Eve.
But I know that even though he didn't get it done that night, he was going to just come back the next day.
Right. And you guys would be able to be together. So your plan was to go together, to move in together down in Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it'd have been a better environment to raise your son with him than Ty? With Jeremy than Ty?
That's how I was feeling, yeah. Because just so much that I dealt with, like, even just with the baby, it's so many times where, because I've been with the baby majority than Ty. Like, I can count on my finger how many times he's given him a bath. I can count on my finger how many times I've had a break after I've worked the same amount of hours that he worked, and I still have to come home and do everything for the baby.
I agree, that's not fair.
And it's like the reason why why the relationship and a bond was built between me and Jeremy is because he will always tell me, you know, you don't have to worry about that. When me and you get together, I'll make sure you have your breaks. I'll do this for the baby. I'll do that. And it just made me really feel like that all of that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, why wouldn't you just divorce him?
I talked to him about it, and he didn't want to.
No, you called him back. You were in the plan. Why didn't you call the plan off? He was leaving that night. Why didn't you call the plan off? Say, I'll just divorce him. Was it because he had some good money to spare out for your kid?
Not even just the money. It's just
not even just the money, or was it? I mean, is the money part of it?
The money is part of it, yes.
Okay.
But main reason being is because I just felt like if I would have called it off, like Jeremy probably would have like been upset at the fact that I called it off, and I didn't want him like mad at me.
Okay, but you understand though, calling it off would have saved your husband's life. You could have divorced him. Was Ty a bad man?
Not bad enough for this. And honestly, that's just like my remorse. That's really how I feel.
I believe you do. I don't believe you do it today. But you know, you put your needs and your wants above somebody's life.
I did.
$400,000 is not what Ty is it?
It's not.
You felt it was before. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah.
Let me think what we can do here. What did Ty say he did with the gun?
What did Ty?
What did Jeremy say he did with the gun? I'm sorry.
I never asked. After it happened, we never talked about it.
Did you see him run off then? Did you run out? Where did you? Now we're being 100% honest.
Yeah,
you guys have talked about.
I didn't see him.
Okay.
When I got out there, I didn't see him. But again, I didn't look.
These Snapchat messages. Now I know you're in a different place than you are right now. Okay. Are they going to make you look like you're pushing this? Because you're calling them back?
Yeah. It's going to make me look like I pushed it.
Okay. All right.
From me calling him back, it's going to make me look like...
Because he wanted to bail on the issue that night? He didn't want to do it that night?
Yeah. But I know words don't mean anything, but I just know that he was going to just come back the next day.
Right. And you didn't want to wait until after the 2nd? So
yeah, because after the 2nd, I knew it would happen. I knew that Kiesha was going to be living with us, which sister and I just knew that I was just going to be more unhappy.
Right.
And that's how I felt. I was unhappy.
Unhappy. Boy, you know, my wife's been unhappy with me. I'm glad that she didn't do that. You know what I mean? I wish she could have waited and thought this out and divorced him. But let me see what I can do here.
Hassel never considered divorce an option. The money was too good to pass up. And even though the detective is allowing her the illusion that she did that in the best interest of her son, the reality is that she never considered anyone beyond herself in this situation.
Let me think of something. I'm gonna see if there's anything else I want to clear up. I don't want them to come around because they're gonna build this up, you know that. And Jeremy's gonna bail on you. And the Snapchat messages aren't gonna help.
He already has.
Give me a second, I'll be right back. I'm not going, I'm gonna just go here, I'm not gonna go down the hallway, get that back inside, I'm trying to think what we can do. I just checked my facts, because I told you I worked in the crime labs and stuff like that. One of the things they're saying is he saw this guy that was with him. Who was the guy that was with him when he was up here? He was up here for like 3 days. So where did he stand while he's up here?
He went back and forth.
To where?
Back and forth to Chicago.
He drove back and forth every day?
Every day he drove back and forth.
Who was the guy that was with him?
At 2 different occasions, 2 different days he was with 2 different people. One person that he was with, his name Bishop, that's his nickname, but his real name is Hector Rodriguez. And the other person that he was with, his name is Jay, but I don't know his full name. Was Hector with him the night that he was going to bail, the night that it happened? Because somebody got on nervous feet. I think Bishop is the one who bailed, but we didn't talk about it after it happened. But Bishop was the one who was with him majority of the time. Okay, Bishop is the one who was with him majority of the time. His name's Hector Rodriguez? Yeah. Okay, and how does he know him? From the service or what? No, from Chicago. Okay, so he's just one of us. They friends. They grew up together. Okay, and who's the other guy that was with him? Jay. I don't know his full name, but they're from Chicago. So he'd come up every night and kind of watch the place. Was he going to try it? I mean, like, if he was trying it before. He wasn't like scoping out to see when he should do it. He was trying before. Okay, but he wasn't getting the opportunity. Yeah. So were you guys talking because you were corresponding every day? You let him. We were talking. And it just wasn't working out that he could get a chance. Yeah, he would be like, what's today looking like? And I'd be like, well, he's out cutting hair, and he'd be like, okay, well, we'll be up there in a few hours, and then he'll come up here and scope out and see if he'll come home by himself or if he wouldn't, and then he would try to take the opportunity. Okay. So he was trying for 4 days. So neighbors saw the car sitting there. That's what they said. Yeah, so he wasn't watching for you, trying to plan it. He was actually trying those nights, but just couldn't make it happen because there was other people with Ty. Yeah. Okay. And so you're trying too to get him separate and stuff like that? You're not even just getting him separate. I was letting him know where he was going and him being back at the house. Like, he'll be on the way to the house, or he's already gone. Okay. So 4 days you guys are trying to kind of get this going. So there's a thinking about this. Would you agree? Yeah. Okay. You know, you said you feel about as responsible as Jeremy is. I mean, would you say this is a 50-50 you guys were on this? Yeah. Because okay. I knew all about it, and like I said, I probably could have stopped it, but the reason that I didn't, because I felt like he would, be mad at me or... And not love you anymore? Yeah. Because I just felt like I wasn't getting that love at home like I wanted to. I get that. Yeah, we go through these valleys. How we handle them really is different from, couple to couple. Would you agree you didn't handle this the best? It wasn't handled good at all. What do you think's happening to Jeremy? I don't know, to be honest. I know that I don't want anything after this. I don't want anything to do with him. Like, if he has to sit in jail, then so be it. Because even if this was, this was a 50-50 thing, he talked about it to where police were able to call back up here, and he instantly said, this was me and her. It was never, well, I felt this type of way about him, so I scoped out and I did it. He wasn't thinking about taking care of me and my child like he told me that he would. He instantly just said, this is me and her, we planned this out together. Yeah. So, but even though he does that, I mean, you were upset that you were worried that he wouldn't like you, be mad at you. But
still, I mean, isn't that a huge step to kill your husband just to be with another guy?
It's a very huge step.
How would you look at it? If this is somebody else, if you were watching this on your TV shows,
I would think it, like, even though that my husband wasn't, like, physically abusive, I would think of it like battered woman syndrome or something, because that's kind of how I felt.
but he didn't batter you.
He didn't.
Hassel would change her story during her trial and claim that Tyrone was abusive. There was never any evidence to support that claim, and most likely it was only used as a desperate attempt to gain enough sympathy to reduce her sentence.
You say he was a pretty good guy, though.
He was. However, just the emotional thing, and then with me being emotional with Jeremy, there were times where he put his hands on me, and, you know, I stayed with him and continued pursuing a relationship like I did when I could have stopped, because every time it happened, he
Could have stopped with Jeremy or his hands?
Yes.
Yeah, you could have.
Because every time it happened, he's like, I'm sorry, I won't do that again.
So Jeremy put his hands on you?
Yeah.
But you still stayed with him,
And
still loved him.
I still stayed with him because I felt like he was giving me that love that I
But you know, that I guess the biggest thing that I'm struggling with, so I'm trying to think how I can work with you on this, but man, I really struggle with the idea that the money was the biggest factor. I mean, because, and you didn't want her to come down there with you, I get that. But I get you want to have a life for your son, but man, why not just divorce him? Do you wish you would have just divorced him?
I wish I would have just divorced him.
The money...
Because but that's why I said, like, the money played a part, but it wasn't the biggest part.
But any part of it. I mean, for
Yeah,
money,
exactly.
a guy's dad who wasn't a horrible husband, I deal with horrible husbands. That guy wasn't a horrible husband, but he just wasn't emotionally into you as much as he was.
Yeah. But whenever we would talk about divorce or anything or counseling, nothing.
You wasn't going to do it?
He wasn't going to do it, and I always felt like, even when we got together, I always felt like he just did it because, you know, we get paid extra for being married. We get paid extra for having a child. And because I wasn't getting that love or anything, I felt like that's the only reason why he even married me. Even though I said that was one of the happiest days of my life, which it was, because that was like my pick-me moment.
Right.
But after, it wasn't like he was still trying to pick me. It was just, I got you now, so it's whatever.
Right.
And whenever I would talk about counseling, whenever I would say something about a divorce, he wasn't going for it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I'm an old dude and I'm not going to be around a lot. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do is, of those two detectives, which one do you like the best?
Peppers, he's the one who,
Younger one or older one?
the bigger, fatter one, the one that's here.
Okay.
Not the tall one, though.
Okay.
Officer Peppers.
All right.
But he talks to Tyrone, but even though I asked him not to say anything, he didn't say anything, so he
Talk to Tyrone. Oh, to
the
his
big
dad?
Tyrone, yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is he's got to be able to, I mean, this has got to, you know, something's going to happen here. You understand that. I mean, you're a smart girl. You're going to college. This is a big screw up, all right? But what I want to do is I want to explain to him that I think you regret it. I do. Do I think you overdid it? Yeah, I do. I mean, but he's the guy that's got to take it back to Berrien County, all right? He's the guy that's got to tell your side of what's going on. Get out in front of this because Jeremy's going to. And if you can take and, hey, listen, I'm going to work with them because Jeremy is a killer. I mean, you basically were right there. He knew he was hiding outside that house. He's somewhere there. That kind of guy I don't want in Michigan, all right? So you kind of got a thing with Jeremy, or you might be able to work with him and explain what was going on. You're wrong. Like you said, it's 50%. You guys planned this and did this for 4 days. You tried to kill him. And then you pull back on the last day because you don't want it to happen on the second. So you call him back and say, hey, let's get this done today. And I get where you're at, but my point is we got to be able to explain this. Jeremy's still on board, you know what I mean? So when I talk to him, you're going to give me a few seconds, just relax, drink, you have your bar stuff here and your water. I want to go and explain to him what's going on. It's going to take me just a little bit to explain to him. And I want to bring him in here, and I'm going to kind of go over everything we said. Does that make sense? Okay? You know, before you do that, let me do this. I want to take it out. Send out a piece of paper. Because I don't want to take in. Sometimes things get mixed up a little bit like that. I don't want to. So far as kind of go from there. I don't want things to get words to get put in your mouth and like that. So, ask him, did you plan with Jeremy to kill Tyrone? Will be your answer.
Yes.
Did this plan, I want to put this, because back in Korea when everything was starting to go for you, going south for you, plan start in Korea.
As the detective confirms some of Hassel's earlier answers, the fight goes out of her. Her earlier energy is gone now that she isn't trying to maintain a facade of innocence.
I'm gonna ask the right, and I'm not saying it's all, but was the money part of the reason for the murder?
I just feel so bad because I just sat with his family and just lied to them, lied to my family. Like,
You had to. I get that. Man, they're gonna understand that part of it.
it's like now, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about my son and everything else. Like,
So did you try for 4 days to work together to kill Tyrone?
yes.
Now I'm gonna ask you the big question. Would you just divorce him today?
Yes.
This answer means very little. Naturally, she would say that she would choose to divorce Tyrone now that she has been caught.
Did I threaten or promise you anything today?
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being great, 1 being crappy, how do you think I treated you? 10. I want to go through this with you, and then we're going to take and make sure we got our ducks kind of in a row. Take your pen here. Just write your name across the top. Now we'll do is we'll go over the statement with him. All right. I said here, did you plan with Jeremy to kill Tyrone? And you said yes. I put it in quotes. Go ahead and put your initials there. Did this plan start in Korea? I think that's important. You said yes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Was the money part of the reason for the murder? And you said yes.
Mm-hmm.
I screwed up and made a line there. Would you just initial above that to know that we crossed that out together? And actually just draw a blue line right through it if you want, just so you cross that out too. Okay. Did you try for 4 days to work together to kill Tyrone? You said yes. You might want to write in it, why didn't you do it? Because there were other people at the ring. There were other people. Right in there, maybe we didn't do it because there were other people. So at least shows that you didn't want to shoot somebody innocent. We say other people.
Other people were with him.
Yeah, so we didn't do it on those days, right? That's why I didn't do it?
Yes.
You're a lot better. Actually, you write it, your handwriting a lot better than mine. Alright. Would you just divorce him today?
Yes.
Oh, I put a question mark after that. I didn't do that. You said yes, go pretty nice there. Yeah, draw lines through there. I screwed up there, both those. Yeah. Okay, initial above it, we cross those out. And I said, that's my last name. Did Lieutenant Gusky threaten or promise you anything? You said?
No.
Okay, go ahead and initial there. You said I treated you like a 10 today? All right, go ahead and circle that for me. It just matters to me. That's just how we get along. Go ahead and sign across the bottom, if you would. Detective Rodriguez, do you know where he lives?
Who? Oh, no, I don't know where he
Okay.
lives. I don't know where he lives. I thought you said detective, right?
No, actress. And today's the 12th. Let's put the date below your name, and I'm right beside you here. So it's 1/12 of 19, and the time is 3:15 a.m. All right. Hey, you're this old, you're normally up this late, so let's see, we'll talk for me. 1/12. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this with me. I want to go over this with him, and I want to bring this in. I want to go over this statement with him. Is there anything else we need to tell?
We were sexual.
That you were sexual? Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of how you guys, that's how the relationship goes at that level that you really shouldn't get to, because then this stuff kind of happens, you know what I mean, where you start thinking.
And that's
you know.
why Jeremy didn't like him. Because, well, that's why my husband and Jeremy didn't talk. Because
Did Tyrone know you guys are sexual?
no, not because of that. So one day me and Jeremy were talking and he complimented me, like, send me some, no. He sent me some heart eyes, and then like later on at night, it was after 9 o'clock, and he was like, what you doing? I'm trying to come see you. And that at that time we weren't sexual. We had never like seen each other like outside of work, because we were just talking. And Ty saw it, and he was like, I don't want you talking to him no more. And that was the reason why they weren't cordial.
Okay. Alright, I'm just checking real quick to make sure. I don't want to let you home and know I should. As far as, what's that?
I really messed my life up.
Yeah. No, it's kind of like one of the shows you see on TV, isn't it? If it's any consolation, I'm sorry for you. Because I think it was a poor decision, emotional poor decision.
I just think they're going to put me in jail and just take my child away from me.
You know, the thing I struggle with the most, she had 4 days to stop.
Hassel is going to have a difficult time explaining those 4 days to a jury, because they show that she was determined to go through with the murder with no hesitation.
Walk away. You know?
And that's really what
Kind of eating down.
It's just eating at me, because I know I could have stopped it, but it's like, I just felt like if I would have tried to stop it, he would have been mad at me, because even in Korea, like...
But it's just love. It's just, man, who cares if you get a boyfriend?
But
you can get another boyfriend.
Yeah, but not even that. It's just that even in Korea, like if we would argue about something, I'm like, you know what, I'm done with you. Like, he would not even let me be done. He would come to my room. He would get the master key in Korea and just walk in there. Like, I just felt like I really
But
couldn't
Ty
get
could
away.
protect you. If you told Ty would have protected you, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Sounds like he was a decent dude.
Yeah.
I mean, in hindsight, would you say he was probably a better guy than Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me go get him. Anything else? You were sexual, you said you want to say that?
Yeah.
But that's probably how it escalated. You can tell him that when he comes in. I'll be back, and it's going to take me a few minutes. I got to walk down the hall and grab them, okay?
Okay.
Just kind of hang tight. Take a drink of water and just relax, all right? I know it's been a long day for you. Hey. I brought Jeremy in, and I kind of talked to him on the way down. I told him we made a statement. I told him you were honest with me. I think he appreciates that. I think he's floored, you know what I mean, like all of us are.
I'm in shock.
Yeah, that's something we just don't see every day. But we're going to do a statement. I just want to go through this with you. I'm going to kind of read it. We'll read it together. I'm just going to go through it real quick. I said, you signed at the top. She's in blue. Everything she did is in blue. Everything I did was in black. I said, did you plan with Jeremy to kill Tyrone? You said,
Yes.
did the plan start in Korea?
Yes.
They started a relationship in Korea. She's alone. She doesn't have a kid with her. So there were some emotional factors, but would you really just got way too deep with them?
Yes.
Was the money part of the reason for the murder?
Yes.
Did you try for 4 days to work together to kill Tyrone?
Yes.
And he says, other people were with him, so we didn't do it on those days. So you guys said the neighbors said there was cars there, which he says he wasn't scoping it. He just couldn't get a clean spot without somebody else there.
Gotcha.
Right. Would you just divorce him today? He said.
Yes.
And I said, did Lieutenant Langowski threaten you or promise you anything? And you said,
No.
and I put a 10 there, and you said it was a 10. What is that?
10 for how he treated me today.
Yeah. We had a good conversation, so I feel bad for her. I think it's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my career, in 24 years of doing it. But is there anything else you want to ask her? I know that this is her chance to get out in front of this, at least explain her side of it. And I mean, Tyrone, obviously you didn't shoot him, but Tyrone did, but you got to explain.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, everything he's saying is accurate. This happened in Korea. It started in Korea, and you come back here, and
It's accurate.
all right. And you guys were communicating while you were here at Tyrone's.
Yeah, we were talking.
You and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they wanted to do it before they went down there. She wanted it done because she was going to bring her sister down with them, and she didn't want her sister down there. So that's why they kind of rushed it on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, his Tyrone's sister. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just was feeling bad because I didn't want another one of his siblings coming to stay with us, because as soon as we got married, a month later, out of our new apartment, he went to go get his brother, and his brother was living with us, and I was just unhappy with it.
So that went pretty bad at that time, and I mean, so this time with the sister.
Yeah, because I was telling him, like,
Couldn't do that again.
I don't want her to come stay with us, and he's like, well, I want to get her out of the city. She's going to come live with us. Like, I didn't have a say-so in it.
Okay. Seems like it's probably been like that for a while. Like maybe there's.
I never really had a say-so in anything. Like if I bring up a suggestion about us, because I had a suggestion about us going to marriage counseling, I had a suggestion about us getting a divorce, and he was not hearing any of that.
Just shutting it all down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you understand, I mean, I know you're taking college classes, you're a smart girl. This is a pretty big situation, you understand that?
I do.
And I don't know what the detectives are going to do, but I'm going to walk in. We got to get the other detectives. They're going to come back and get you. I don't know what their plans are, but I'm guessing I don't think you're probably going home tonight would be a fair guessing, if I were guessing. So, but they'll make that decision as far as us. Anything else you want to tell me? All right. We're going to step out. We'll be back just a little bit. You just want to hang tight just for a little bit, okay? We're going to get him. You want to grab your partner's jacket, and she can have that when you guys get outside there. Yep.
In a weak attempt to give some justification for her actions, Hassel implies that her husband was disinterested in their marriage and possibly even harmed her emotionally. Without anything to back up her statements, it is unlikely that it will sway a jury's negative opinion. Kemia Hassel was found guilty of conspiracy and first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thanks again for tuning in. Drop a like if you like this video, and check out my Patreon page if you want to support the channel even more. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.